Category 5 strength by the time it gets to the west coast of Florida. That's really important to note. But it's also important to note that you don't want to get hung up on this great weakening. It's not going to be a great weakening. It's going to be a powerful storm that's just not as intense as it once was. So it's still going to be quite large, not only with intensity, but it is going to grow in size as well. We're talking doubling the size that it's at now. So if you look on the satellite imagery, do you see how the skies get quite clear, just a little jog off into the Gulf? That's because that's that dry air, that frontal boundary that's pushing it off to the northeast. We're beginning to see that forward motion pick up. So by tomorrow, the forward speed, we're going to see the satellite imagery tomorrow. When you track it with us, it's going to be a wild change. It's not going to be this slow and steady movement across the Yucatan. You will notice a difference if you go do something and come back an hour later. Of course, we'll still be here for you. You'll see how that storm is moving. You'll see the winds pick up as well. So I have the forecast. Now, this is just for Fort Myers, but just kind of give you a general sense here. If you are in an area off to the north, that the peak of the winds might give or take 45 minutes to an hour, and they might be a little bit higher or lower. I just wanted to give you a sense of the timing here. After the sun sets tomorrow, that's when not only the winds pick up, but the surge is going to pick up as well. So by midnight, we have some hurricane force wind gust, and then once we head into landfall time, the storm will begin to weaken. It's not going to weaken as quickly as you might see some other tropical systems. A lot of times these tropical systems, why they're tropical, get their energy, they get a lot of source from that warm water, they get a lot of energy from some of the thunderstorms that are forming, and then once they come on shore, that energy gets cut off, and then it starts to weaken immediately. This frontal boundary is going to give it a little bit of extra energy. It can kind of gain energy from the temperature contrast and between those two frontal boundaries. When a normal front comes on through, it's windy. Yeah, well, that's kind of pushing along this storm as well. So it's not going to immediately just kind of go away. We'll have the storm be pretty strong right through landfall and then thereafter. So the winds will be slower maybe than what we would want to kind of fall off here. By 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning, we still have 40 minutes. I know that's hard to read. It's on the line there. That says 57. So about 60-mile-per-hour winds gusting about 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be a pretty active evening for tomorrow, not only with the landfall into the overnight hours. This time tomorrow, we're going to be watching it get closer and closer to the coastlines. The storm surge forecast did not change with that new advisory at 11 o'clock. That's good because they did change it at at 5. But keep in mind that forecast change should not have changed your plans for preparedness at all. 7 to 10 feet versus 8 to 12 feet, we're preparing the same. We're putting sandbags. We're doing everything that we can. We're evacuating. These are things that we have learned and we are doing better at. So hopefully we are much safer from the storm. There's nothing we can do to stop this water coming in. As far as the water coming, we can prepare our homes, but the water's coming. What we do to prepare is what we're going to do. But once that preparedness is done, we got to head out and just kind of hope that what we did was enough to prepare for the storm. As we look through tomorrow, I want to kind of time out some of the rain bands coming on through. If you are getting on the road early, trying to head over to your cousin's house or whoever first thing in the morning, after maybe some real last-minute preparations, we will have some drier times, but once we head into about the middle of the morning, those thunderstorms are going to come on through, and that's just going to make you probably make things a little harder, more difficult. We don't want to add more stress to us. So tomorrow morning, if you want to get on the roads early, do it as early as you possibly can. The weather will be manageable. We know how to drive through thunderstorms, but it's just going to be a hassle. By 10:30 in the morning, we have some thunderstorms coming on shore, and they're going to have gusty winds. They could even have some tornadic ability to them. So let's just avoid that if we can. By noon, we should, if you're not in your place by noon, promise me you can be in your place by noon. That's what I need. We're going to have the winds start to pick up. The rain is getting heavier, and the rain that's really occurring over the same spots over and over. We might see some ponding and flooding issues. It's not going to take much to have freshwater flooding because of how much rain we've seen as of late. And that is even far inland spots. Places like Buckhead Ridge, Sarasota Colony, Clewiston, LaBelle. You guys have seen a ton of rain as well, not only the past week, but throughout the entire summer. The ground is soaking wet. As we head through Wednesday night, we start to see maybe some breaks in the rain. The heaviest rain will be just to the north of the eye. So keep in mind as that eye wall, as we watch that eye wall kind of fluctuate of where it's going to go, just to the north of there is where that real heavy rain and not being able to avoid the flooding potential north of the eye wall wherever those bands set up. 4 o'clock, we're still looking at some isolated downpours. By 6 o'clock, maybe some drier weather, maybe drier as far as rain is concerned, but now we're looking at that surge and that wind really starting to come on through. This is 11 o'clock. This is our in-house model here showing again that eye wall just off the coast of Sarasota by about this time tomorrow night. All right, we'll continue our analysis and team coverage. I'll send it over to Peter.